Hey, thanks again, New Orleans Pelicans fans, for tuning in. We have a great couple guests for you today on the Unfiltered Dunks podcast. This is a Protect the Nets production. We have Sasha Bazian, the founder of Music, Movies, and Hoops. He joins us once a week, maybe sometimes once a month, now that he's a new father, to talk ball, talk music, talk hoops, and just the life in general, the culture. And then we also have with us today Travelle Gaines, a trainer full of knowledge, steeped in life lessons to pass along. Travelle, thanks for coming on. Please, without giving too much away that we'll get into, introduce yourself to the fans. Tell them what you've done for years to get yourself into the business, how you come where you at now, and where you're going. And also throw your social media handles in there so they can follow your work.
Okay, well, first of all, you forgot the biggest thing. I'm also a diehard Pelicans fan, by the way. Probably one of the only ones in the world. But that's neither here nor there. But I'm Travelle Gaines. I am the owner and founder of Athletic Gaines Training Facility here in Los Angeles, California. Have the pleasure to work with some of the best MLB, NFL, and NBA athletes. Some of the athletes I work with in the NBA include Jaylen Brown, Jimmy Butler, Pascal Siakam, Lonzo Ball, Draymond Green, and a host of others. If I forgot
Trae
some,
Young.
I feel bad.
Can't forget
Trae
Trae
Young. You cannot forget Trae Young. And been really blessed to just be in this business. I've had a interesting road to get to where I'm here now. I'm from Louisiana. I moved here in 2008 with actually Reggie Bush, at the time played for the New Orleans Saints, and I've been in LA ever since and kind of built my practice from there.
That's amazing. How did you get to LA?
So I was a strength coach at LSU.
Okay.
And I started to train. It was after Hurricane Katrina, and I was there for Hurricane Katrina. And as you probably remember, the New Orleans Saints is obviously the Superdome, and their practice facility was destroyed by the storm. And so a lot of the Saints players started to come and work out with me in Baton Rouge, and one of those players was Reggie Bush. And going into 2007, I got fired from my job at LSU. I really didn't know what I was going to do because it was my dream job, and I was 25 years old at the time. I really didn't have a backup plan or option. And Reggie Bush was like, "Man, you should move to LA. You'll be the greatest trainer ever." And I didn't see the vision. I was like, "Yeah, whatever." And so I moved to LA, and the rest has literally been history.
Well, you mentioned Katrina and having your dream job at 25. That's two different ways to I guess, lose out on your current situation. Talk about the lessons from Katrina maybe helped you once you're 25 and lose your dream job, but you really gained a freedom to do what you're doing now.
Well, the funny part is I think about Katrina every day. It's tattooed on me, the date. I still can smell Katrina to this day. You know, is the smell something I can never get out of my mind, and obviously the vision of seeing a hopeless community and a community that, you know, you felt that America did not care about us. And it wasn't a black thing. It wasn't a white thing. I just think it was a regional thing. And I think that for me, it also has taught me to never take anything for granted. I still wake up every day at 4 a.m. I work hard as I worked when I was at that age. And I just don't take life or anything for granted. So I take things pretty seriously. And what Katrina has taught me is to never, ever, 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 ever take anything for granted. And it's something, again, I think about every single day of my life.
Travelle, talking about getting up at 4 a.m., maybe it's Katrina related, but tell us about how you fell in love with fitness, strength training, athletics.
So the funny part about it is I have a very interesting background. I had no desire to be in the training space, let alone the sports space. I actually wanted to be a high school principal. And so I went to San Jose State. Yeah, that's what I wanted to be. I went to San Jose State. I was a triple major, have a BS degree in behavioral science, a BA degree in history, and a BA degree in sociology. And what I wanted to do was become a high school principal, prove a concept to where I can go into an inner city school and have a deep effect and change on these students, and hire teachers that also want to do the same thing. And then I eventually want to be a superintendent. But my college strength coach, Kim Sword, he took a job at the University of Louisiana Monroe. He approached me and said, "Hey, man, I think you'd be a really good strength coach. And I know you're from Louisiana and you want to get back home," which I did, because my family and my whole entire family lives in Louisiana. Okay. And so I was the only one here in California. And so I decided to, you know what, I'll try it. I was going to go to Stanford for grad school, but decided to go to University. Yeah, man. Oh my God. I am a nerd.
Okay.
And so,
you're a
genius. Yeah, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. But I went there and I fell in love with it. And just the early mornings have always been up. I think our first group was at 6 a.m. So I would like to get up pretty early and get my workout in and get everything set up and just kind of proceed with my day. And I fell in love with being able to help athletes. See, the strength coach is the most important hire to a program because they are the coach that helps the athlete build upon the season before. So whatever you have to work on, if it's speed, if it's agility, if it's strength, your position coach can't help you with that because you only get limited amount of time and hours with them during spring ball or during the summer if you play basketball or obviously during the season. So being able to help the athletes reach their goals and kind of putting together strategies for them is something that I fell in love with and something I'm still doing today.
Incredible.
That's beautiful to hear. I love to hear people want to go into the schools and maybe find new programs, new ways to reach the kids.
Yeah.
As a trainer, you got to build relationships the same way you would with them kids. If you're a trainer with nobody to train, or a teacher or a principal with no students, you're not doing much. So how do you build those relationships, build those programs, and tailor-made to what they need to accomplish?
Well, you know, Chris, that's a great question because similar to kids in school and getting stigmas of being quote unquote bad kids or being learning disabilities or whatever that might be, what people have to understand about America is the most diverse place in the world. And I'm talking about you can meet someone from South Louisiana who speaks totally different from somebody from Northern Louisiana. You can meet somebody from Southern California who speaks an totally different from somebody from Northern California. And so the regions of the state has caused a huge language barrier, accent barrier, and dialect barrier, and just a cultural barrier. And so everything comes down to communication. So with the athletes that I train, I try to figure out what motivates them. Everyone's motivated by something. And then also it's communication. There's some people who they want to be like Jimmy Butler. He wants you to tell him that he sucks, that he's terrible, and he feeds off of that. But other kids, for example, if you tell them anything negative, they freeze and they don't want to be around. So kind of figuring out, taking the time to figure out what motivates each person. I actually treat everybody differently. You know, I know people say you should treat everybody the same, but you can't. You have to figure out what motivates each person, how they respond to learning, because training is teaching.
Do you just directly ask these people what motivates them? Or does it
Never.
happen more organically?
Never, because the funny part is a lot of time what the athletes want sometimes is dictated by what their agent wants or what their team wants or what their family wants. And then a lot of times what the agent want is sometimes contract related, so it can get them to their next deal. And then a lot of times what the team wants is not necessarily what the player wants to do. So kind of having communication with the team, figuring out what the team wants from the athlete, figuring out communication from the athlete to see what he wants, and then figuring out what his agent wants. You can formulate a process.
How does it look different from the first time you're training a player to maybe the second off season you've had a player and you're talking to the team and coaches and you've got more of a network to help him versus that first session where it's really you want to learn about each other. You're trying to learn if they're good at the game or if they love the game, which there's two separate sets in the NBA to me. There's a bunch of players that are great at the game, but there's some like Jimmy Butler. You can tell he loves the game. And to me, I think that difference in building on that, there's only so much you can do as a trainer if the player doesn't have it.
That's true. The great part about me, I don't solicit or market, so it's not like I'm really out there. And so the great part about me is all the athletes that I train come from because they want to emulate or they like another athlete that I train or that I deal with. And so for me, it's pretty much the same, man. I'm still as motivated as I was 18 years ago. I still take it to heart. I still take it pretty serious when I get a chance to work with an athlete, because at the end of the day, I have to understand that this is the way that this athlete is going to have sustainability, how they're going to be able to make as much money as they possibly can. And the more money they make, the more they can change their trajectory of their family and their whole entire life. And so I take it pretty serious. And nothing has really changed. I still get pretty excited when a player signs a new deal, as I did 18 years ago.
Trevelle, I want to understand these competing interests. You just talked about you have the players' desires, the team, what they want from them and their family, maybe their agent. How do you navigate these competing desires and kind of get to the heart of what's best for the person?
That's a great question. it's about, again, it's about the delivery. It's explaining to them, hey, you know what, your team wants you to do this. I know you want to be this ISO. The big thing right now is ISO basketball. You know, you want to be this ISO basketball player. Then you got your skills trainer that has you doing these 27 dribble move combinations, where now it's about ball movement. You know, the Golden State Warriors kind of set that standard. And so with most teams, they want you to get into your shot within 2 or 3 dribbles. And so explaining to them, it's great to have that tool package of being able to dribble the leather off the ball like a Kyrie Irving and get a shot up. But your team wants you to do this. Your team wants you to be a D&3 guy. Your team wants you to be a pick and pop player. So explaining to them, it's great to have those tools, but this is what's going to get you to your next contract. And again, it's about the delivery and not trying to discredit anybody a part of their ecosystem. You can't discredit the agent. You cannot discredit the team. You cannot discredit anybody else they're working with. And finding that happy medium to where I'm trying to help you improve your conditioning, your injury prevention, your rotational strength, your explosiveness, your balance, and your single leg strength. And as long as they know that I'm there to help them out with their body and to put them in the best position they can be in to make as much money as possible and help out their team, that's what really helps me out with these athletes.
But could you talk about a little bit on how you've seen Lonzo grow since he's joined the league, joined the Pelicans? I'm not sure how long you've been with him, but just that sort of process, so we can look at a specific player and how they work on stuff. I know he's done a lot of work with Fred Vincent on his shot, but so much more of his game has evolved except for that shot.
Well, first of all, I want to be very clear. Lonzo Ball is by far not only one of my favorite players, he's one of my favorite human beings that I've ever been around. Lonzo Ball is a phenomenal human being. He's a unbelievably honest person. He's a very transparent person. He is I just can't say it enough. He's actually very quiet. He doesn't say a lot. As you probably can tell by his demeanor on the court is similar to off the court. And unless he really gets a chance to know you, once he gets a chance to know you, he's unbelievably funny. You know, that's a funny part. And so people expect Lonzo Ball, because he's lived his life in the media for so long, to be a certain type of way, which he is not. He's the most non-assuming, out the way person ever. He doesn't go out. He doesn't drink. He doesn't party. He just hangs out at home. You know, that's just kind of his thing. For him, it's basketball and family. And he seriously is a big time family person. So as far as his evolution on the court, it's kind of been a village type situation. Coach Vincent has done a phenomenal job improving Lonzo Ball's shot. That's first of all. Second of all, he works with 2 skills trainers here in LA. One of them being Chris Johnson, who trains LeBron James and a bunch of other really good athletes, Ben Simmons and other players. And then he works with another guy out of Atlanta. Oh my God, I feel so bad because I just talked to him yesterday. His trainer out of Atlanta, which I feel so bad about. And Coach Vincent has done just a phenomenal job with his skills. And then we went to work, and it's funny because we're already planning the offseason for next year. Hopefully they can sneak into that play-in game so we can delay our offseason training. But he's already looking forward to taking the next jump next year, and that's hopefully being in position to be an all-star.
Trevelle, speaking of Lonzo, he's been on and off the court with nagging injuries. You're the perfect person to ask this question. Do you think the condensed schedule this year is leading to more injuries? There's been debate about if it is or not.
You know, it's funny because a lot of players have gotten hurt.
Yeah.
LeBron,
one of the biggest injuries in his career.
Yeah. You know, I really don't know, because I think that Lonzo Ball plays so hard and plays tough. He's a two-way player. Yes. He wants to pick up 94 feet. He wants to initiate the offense. So when you have that kind of wear and tear on your body, little nagging injuries are going to happen. So I don't know if I can contribute it to the condensed schedule. The schedule is what it is. I mean, it's just at the end of the day, Adam Silver has done a phenomenal job with putting the NBA, which I think is the best league in all of major sports, into a situation and working with the pandemic and working with what they could work with. So the schedule is what it is. Teams have to just do a great job of managing minutes and having a deep roster, because obviously when you're playing 4 games in 5 nights, multiple weeks in a row, that's a lot of wear and tear on the body.
Yeah, I think the Wolves right now are playing 20 games in 30 days or something not good. I feel for them.
Well, it's the Wolves,
Yeah.
so nobody really cares about the Wolves. I mean, hope Alex Rodriguez sends them to Puerto Rico or something. Nobody cares about the Wolves, man. Name 5 players on the Wolves. Name 5 players on the Wolves right now. Go.
Anthony Edwards,
1,
Cat, Malik
2,
Beasley, Ricky
3.
Rubio.
Is he?
D'Angelo
Russell.
Okay, there you go. I didn't know Ricky Rubio. See, I didn't know
Yeah, Rubio finally
made
made it back from Phoenix. They picked him up for like a minimum contract.
Did you guys hear that Anthony Edwards didn't know who Alex Rodriguez was?
Why are you shocked by that?
A-Rod, the Yankees, is something I know so well. So just to think a younger generation doesn't know about Jeter and A-Rod.
Well, think about it like this. You're from Boston, so you're probably a baseball, football, basketball fanatic.
Yes, sir.
Anthony Edwards, the 19-year-old kid from Atlanta, Georgia, who he's black. Most African-American kids do not watch baseball. Although I did. I actually played professional baseball in the Montreal Expos organization.
So God!
Cool,
man.
I'm the rare commodity, but most kids, if I ask a kid from LA, if I ask any of these kids coming out of high school in LA right now getting ready for the draft, it's a pretty good chance they don't know who Jeter or A-Rod is.
Again, look at Atlanta. They've got the Braves, but they moved the Braves out to Cobb County. They have basically said, we're not going to market to the inner city. So why would the inner city kids know about who's playing? They don't want to go to a game. The game doesn't want them there. So of course they're going to go to other sports.
But also you got to understand, again, going back to Anthony Edwards, when you're playing that high level of basketball, you're playing for your high school, then you're playing AAU ball year round. So all you really know is basketball. That's just the reality of it. They're not watching football. They're not watching baseball. They're just watching basketball. And that's just the reality of a lot of kids as they get to be specialized. They're locked in on a sport 12 months out the year.
Trevelle, I'd love to pull all the way out, go huge big picture, because you work across the leagues. First of all, I heard you say you said the NBA is the best league,
by far,
best sport league. I'd love you to kind of elaborate on why you think that. I agree, but I'd love to hear it from you.
The reason why I think the NBA is the best league, again, Adam Silver has done a phenomenal job with making the league a global game. I think it's a player-driven league. Literally, players can force their way out of situations, which you cannot do that in any other league. I mean, i.e., look at Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
And I just think that the crowds, the playoffs, how it's marketed, TNT. I can't name you who does. I don't know who does Sunday Night Football on ESPN. I really don't know. But
ESPN
Chuck,
doesn't know right now.
There you go. But Chuck, Shaq, EJ, and Ernie has become household names. I mean, they have their own documentaries. That shows you how famous basketball has become.
So, Coach, I appreciate you dedicating about half an hour for us this morning. We're coming up on that. I just got 2 more questions for you. I'll let Sasha get one. One is just, what do you want to see from the Pelicans this offseason? Did you like Coach Stan Van Gundy getting hired? You're a huge Pelicans fan. But also, what's in store for Mr. Travelle Gaines on the athletic side? Maybe branching out in the media, get you on a podcast. You're going to start your own?
Yeah.
What you got? What you got, baby?
Well, 2-part question. First of all, I love Coach Van Gundy. I love what he's doing. I believe he's very honest. I think he's great for the media, having come from the media side. I like the direction that the team is going in. I think Trajan Langdon and David Griffin does a phenomenal job. I love the team. I'm very, very biased. I see the positive in everything. I've never been a guy that's rooted against my team and wanted them to lose. And so that's the first part. I think they're going to continue to get better every year. They are a very, very young team. And I think if the core group can stay together in Zion, Brandon Ingram, and Lonzo, I think they can be disruptive for years to come. As far as myself, my goal is to actually own the Pelicans. That's my whole goal in life. And everything that I do. Yeah, I mean, hey, man, Miss Benson has to sell the team at some point. And I think what better person to buy it than a local boy, because the team will never leave. We'll keep it there, and it'll have a lot of New Orleans flair.
Music, movies, and hoops will back you, Trevelle.
Thank you. I would need that, man. Put out there. That is my goal. That could be the headline. Travelle Gaines' goal was to buy the Pelicans.
Yes.
Eventually.
Somebody named A-Rod. We don't know who that is.
I just signed a huge media deal with Bally Sports, which is the new Fox Sports. And I'm putting together a lot of content from the behind-the-scenes training world. I've actually won 3 Emmy Awards. And so content is right up my alley. It's definitely a direction I want to continue to go in. I live in Hollywood, so, it's great to be in this environment. But I think that the next step is been really blessed, have some really cool friends that have done some really good things in the business world. And so we are working on a podcast to talk about the people behind the scenes, the agents, the power brokers, the movers and shakers that really affect the world. So I want to come out with a 8 to 12 part podcast focusing on guys like Rich Paul, Maverick Carter, Dwyane Wade. People are doing huge business moves and really movers and shakers in the sports world that the common fan doesn't know.
Like ballers, but real.
Yeah, the real life ballers.
I love that. I can't wait.
Yeah, for sure.
Trevelle, my last question with you. You work with my favorite player in the league, someone who I'm just inspired by, Jaylen Brown. I absolutely love him. I believe in him on the court, on the court. At what point did you know that he would become somebody who could drop 40 last night, who would be an NBA All-Star? Where do you see his career going? How good do you think you can be? And just tell us a little about what he's like as a person.
The day he walked in my gym at 16 years old. So what people have to understand is if someone has a work ethic and they are determined, if you have those two things, you're going to get better every year, because if you stay in the gym and constantly get better, you're going to get the results. And so the funny part is people think that they're working hard until you get around people that are really working hard. And Jaylen Brown is someone who has the desire and the work ethic to just keep getting better and improving every single year. He's very laser focused. He's very seasoned. He is a man well above his age. He's very mature, very old soul. He listens to, he actually works out to 80s R&B music. So
that's the Gap Band. Please tell me the Gap Band early in the mornings in that rotation.
Man, he has all kind of stuff in the rotation. I'll tell you that right now. He is a music aficionado. You know what I mean? And so that's who Jaylen is. He's a great guy. He is very, very serious. I don't think I've ever seen Jaylen smile.
Wow.
I don't think so. He's very, very serious and very focused.
Coach, we appreciate you being serious enough to take us serious. We appreciate you focusing on the podcast this morning. We're going to let you focus on the rest of your training for the day. Enjoy that sunshine in the background, because I'm jealous.
Thank you.
And hey, we hope to have you back on. I can't wait to hear your podcast series.
Absolutely.
Get with me. I hope we can write it up, promote that as much as we can.
Let's do it. I really appreciate you guys having me.